to this moment, no human brains can beat AlphaGo. It's a piece of artificially intelligent robot that Google has designed to master chess games. In the past, we always thought humans are smarter. Humans are essentially better than machines. But today, with the term of machine learning, machines are learning much faster and much quicker than we can do. Wealthfront is a very, very well example of how they use innovation to disrupt the wealth management industry, how it transformed the entire field to use automation instead of human advisors. However, currently it's struggling. It's struggling to navigate its way through a very, very competitive market. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and very warm welcome to y'all. We're Team CUHK from the Chinese University of Hong Kong, and I'm Yodi. Here are my colleagues Colin, Angela, and Melody. Today, we're going to show you how we can help Wealthfront to build and expand its internal capability so it can be better than all the other competitors, no matter the big banks or other startups that are growing very quickly. We're going to perform to you comprehensive market analysis, company analysis, and last but not least, propose to you our strategy. I'm very happy to pass on to Angela now, who will talk to you more about the company background.
Thank you, Yuri. So when we look at the company, we can see that there are two business focus. First is the B2B, where they find business customers, clients. They tailor single stock automated diversification service. For example, they did it for Facebook and Twitter in the past. And for the second type is the B2C. They use automatic money managing service and freemium model and lowering entry barrier for individuals customers like everyone sitting here. So moving on, we will look. Moving on, we'll look at the capital and AUM of this company. Well, actually, the company has been growing and beat the S&P 500 by 4% in recent years. And secondly, there are actually more than 100,000 accounts using on this platform already. And lastly, the AUM is actually in total of $5 billion. Well, this may be not a very large number, but however, we do see that there are three very important internal capability, and this is actually leading to the success of Wealthfront. First is a high transparency. Well, in the traditional way, when we use human advisors, there are actually more than 80% of the people who do not believe them, because there are misaligned incentives between clients and advisors, and also mis-selling by financial advisors, and interim trades misdisclosed. And therefore, with the trust issues that we have when we face human advisors, this is when Wealthfront tap in, because they are using a key information like model assumption and portfolio allocations that are available for free. And it is also free information before even people invest any money. This builds up trust and to overcome the problem of conflict of interest, as we understand that with the constructed and tailored, without using a constructed automated algorithm service that we provide, this is actually what we beat human advisors and result in a very high transparency and gain trust from customers, especially individual ones. So moving on to the second internal capability that we have, is the minimum human intervention. So the CEO of Wealthfront actually once stated that we focus on providing a completely automated investment service, eliminating the cost of retail and sales teams. This leads us into a vision of providing a machine learning and all automatic service that we provide and no other firms can do for now in the industry. And therefore, because human advisors are not have very ability and experience, and they may sell for their own commission and also for their own interest, this is how our minimal human intervention can actually help us to attract new clients. Lastly, is the low cost of services. So for other financial advisors, as you may come across before, there are actually 3 layers of service fees, including advisory fee, which actually costs around 0.75% to 2% usually. And second one is the fund management fee, which is around 0.9%. And lastly is the one-time sales load when you unload your investment, which actually costs about 5%, which is pretty high. Well, for our case, we are only charging 0.25% only with accounts that are having the assets over 10,000 US dollars for each account. So that is why with these internal capabilities, we do believe that we have a strength for our company. Well, after looking into a company, we want to look more into the market. When analyzing the market, we realize that this market is a growing one with a great potential. There are actually estimated 120 trillion US dollars in 2016 by a UI project. And there are mainly two types of customers, mainly the wealthy individuals and also institutions with external investment. And that hence we have the B2B and B2B and B2C customers. However, when we move on to the service providers, we found out that there are actually more than 750 RIAs in around 11,000 firms, but there are major two types of them. Firstly, is the large companies like the traditional banks, and second, it's the standalone robot advisors like us, Wealthfront. And when we look at this market, we realize that the two types of players are having very different nature and target customers. And therefore, with the potential growth, we would like to actually look into the challenges of the entire market and how our company is going to take advantage and overcome them. And I'll now pass it on to Melody to talk about them.
Thank you, Angela. So for challenges, we have both external challenges and internal challenges. So for the external challenge, Wealthfront is actually facing a very keen competitive landscape. There are traditional competitors who are tapping into this new area, and they are enjoying several competitive advantage over Wealthfront. For example, it has a huge client base and a large AUM. For Vanguard, the AUM is 47 billion US dollars, and for Charles Schwab, it's 12.3 billion US dollars. So we can see that the AUM is significantly larger than that of new competitors like Wealthfront. And also they can provide human services at a relatively low cost because they already provide such services. So this is the advantage over new competitors. And apart from Wealthfront, there are several similar companies like Future Advisor and Personal Capital. And they are, although they are also new, but they try to include human elements in providing their services, and there's numerous competitors. However, what we can see is that for both traditional competitors as well as new competitors, they are trying to integrate human advisor with robo-analytics, and this is the reason why robo-advisors and automation is becoming the trend. So for the first internal challenge, it is the high client acquisition cost. So Wealthfront major competitor, who is Betterment, they are transforming to include some human advisors effectively, and this helps them to reduce the cost, causing them their AUM to surpass that of Wealthfront. And Wealthfront is facing high cost of acquisition because they're not really adopting human services. And this implies that a big service fee to maintain the profitability. And it takes Wealthfront around 1,000 US dollars to acquire every new client. And they're only charging a service fee of 0.25%, which means that to make the amount profitable, it must be above USD $400,000. But the average account size of Wealthfront is merely 50,000 US dollars now. So the cost of acquiring new clients is actually unreasonably high. So this is the first internal challenge faced by Wealthfront. So for the second internal challenge is the lack of holistic experience. So on the left side, you can see that there are a lot of advantages of traditional human advisors. First is that human advisors can actually talk to clients, and they can gain confidence and trust from the clients. So just think about it. When you want to buy something, do you want to buy it from a real human being, or do you want to buy it from a robot? So obviously, as humans are emotional animals, you would like to talk to someone who really respond and really know what you need. And this is the reason why for the second advantage of human advisors is that they can really understand the financial situations, goals, and risk preferences of the clients. Because they can talk face-to-face to our clients, they can make our clients feel more confident, and they will feel more understood by human advisors about their financial situation, their personal needs, like their life planning, etc. And the third advantage of traditional human advisors is that they can help customers avoid emotional biases. For example, when clients are not really educated and they're inexperienced, when they know information from the robot advisors that maybe a stock price is falling, or they may feel panic, and without human advisors, they cannot be guided in a timely manner to make rational decisions. So with traditional human advisors, they can actually help avoid emotional biases. So facing these challenges, I would now like to pass the time to Colin to talk about our target customer portfolio.
Thank you very much, Melody. So now, having in mind what we are facing right now with our competitors, what challenges we're facing, now we'll talk more about what are actually the customers that we're trying to pitch, what are the customers that we're actually looking for with our algorithm, with our websites. So the first one is that we're looking for techies, and the second one, we're looking for a younger generation. It's simply because they're more open to the idea that technology is better. They look forward and they trust more about these numbers, trust more about technologies, and they will hence have a better decision of what to invest. So first of all, they have a science and engineering background, so they are very, very number sensitive, and they trust a lot of quantitative data that we can provide. And the second thing is that they prefer to directly online execution than actual communication. So this is a very new trend, and this is why Wealthfront is very special, because we build our company on one sole idea, and that is trying to build the best software and try to build the best online experience with minimal human interaction, so that it will be a very automated process. And the third quality of our target customer would be a habit of quantitative processing. As I just mentioned, because they're technicians and also they're the younger generation, they put more effort and put more concentration and focus on the quantitative numbers. And last but not the least is that they trust drivers is that they have 53% transparency and 46% from the reputation. So obviously the new generation and the techies would trust more with more transparency in the numbers, and so that is a very great advantage of us. So now, having all these in mind, now we'll move on to talk about our strategies. So before I move further forward into deeper details about the strategies, I would like to bring forth a little small clarification. So our strategies presented here today on the slides will be mainly focused on B2C strategies. We'll try to refine them, how to make them better. It's not that we do not care about B2B strategies. We do care about them as well, and we care about these clients as well. However, we view that they're a very unsteady revenue stream. It's impossible for us to guarantee that we'll be able to find another Twitter from Silicon Valley each and every fiscal year to try to build on this B2B revenue. So instead of hoping that each year we'll find one such new star and huge potential client, we'll try to build on a steady revenue stream here with the B2C clients, and this is where our main source of steady revenue will come from. So the first one will be attracting new clients. So just as Melody mentioned, one of the internal challenges that we are facing is that it's a very high cost to acquire new clients with $1,000 per client. So this is very unreasonable, and the way we've come up to actually tackle with this problem is engaging in a referral program. So basically, it's a very simple idea, just like Uber. When you refer your friend to use Wealthfront, will give you the ability to freely access our premium services for a limited period of time. So you get a taste of how it works. Just a note is that the friend that got referred will not be able to enjoy the premium service yet. So there are 4 premium services that we offer. The first one is a tax loss harvesting. The second one would be direct indexing. The third one would be a single stock diversification, and the fourth one would be a dynamic portfolio rebalancing. So our outcome that we try to achieve over in this strategy and here is that we're trying to reach out to a much broader network. So what we're doing here today is not merely try to persuade our original existing users to continue using our functions or our service. We're trying to reach out to these friends of friends of friends. So we're trying to use a very low or even no new cost method to spread out to all these different potential clients. What we're doing here today is not trying to give them more function, more incentives with money. We're basically just providing them with existing services that we already have and just giving them the permission to use the premium services. So it incurs low or even no cost at all. So the second outcome that we're trying to achieve here is to provide incentive for existing user to upgrade their account to use our premium services. So this will increase on our steady revenue stream because maybe in the previous days they're just using the free accounts, they're not using the premium service. But after they get a taste of it, after knowing how convenient it could be, knowing how much benefits it could bring, they might actually be wanting to switch to a premium account, and hence it includes to our revenue stream. So it's just like the same idea of restaurants or different kind of cosmetic products, giving them free trial versions, and this is what we're trying to do here. And third, but last but not the least, is trying to increase the brand awareness so that we'll be able to reach out to more audience and easier to attract more new clients. So moving on to the second strategy is to adjust the register matrix. So just as my teammates just mentioned, it's very important that the new idea about machine learning. And so before that, we'll try to include a qualitative block additional to the current register matrix. So the qualitative block is very important because it also adds a sense of human touch and more interactive with our clients. So we can cater more specific needs of their investing intentions. For example, if they're having some life goals or if they're trying to set up an investment fund to put their kids into college, so we can cater these specific needs accordingly. So we can also increase the option in the matrix later to make a better judgment so that we'll be able to do machine learning. And now I'll pass on to Yodi to talk more about our latter strategies.
Thank you, Colin. So one of the challenges that I talked about from human advisors is that essentially if you go to an investment fund, they'll tell you at the very beginning of the quarter and then the end of the quarter, but you don't know what's happening. But to us, it's actually very important that you monitor how your fund is doing. But essentially what Wealthfront is doing right now is you can check everything on your own. But remember, our target customers are techies and students. They don't necessarily have all the financial information. They don't even know what's the market going on. So right now, we'll try to improve on our human touch. Because we know that they don't want someone who constantly call them and talk to them or feel like we're upselling and cross-selling stuff to them, we'll essentially improve our emailing system and our notification system. So people will get to read more information about how's it going in the market and more financial information that will essentially be affecting the performance of their funds. So we want to educate our clients here, and this is a very essential mission of our entire company. We want information to be free, and we want at the same time to educate our clients that in the end of the day, they can feel very comfortable in the automated system. And last but not least is when you unload the decision. So during market turmoils, people might get scared. They might worry, and that's why they have very irrational withdrawals. And actually, it might cause them bigger losses. However, what we're trying to do here is instead of having human advisors to talk to them, which they don't trust anyways, we want to improve on our system so that they can see a very full dashboard with different suggestions and the probability and also sensitivity analysis of the current market. So they'll know essentially what are some of the suggestions that they can go for in terms of unloading their capital. Because we hope that in the end of the day, Wealthfront is not just a company that is just like any other hedge funds. We have our very high competitive advantage in terms of automated system, and with the end goal of having the entire services automated, we would use machine learning as our basis. Thank you very much, and we open the floor to questions.
Thank you.
First this time. Okay. Well, I like your drawings.
Thank
Right.
you.
Well, in terms of being a disruptor, coming with new technologies, everything, disrupting the entire financial services, what areas should they focus in on for the future, especially from product development? Because I heard nothing about what they should put their investment into, especially on the product and services development.
Excuse me, do you mean the financial products? Like which types of financial products that we'll focus on?
The core technologies.
Oh, in terms of technology?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your question. So in terms of technology, what we're trying to do here is we want to include algorithms that would be written in modern language instead of old languages like Java and C++. Because essentially for most of the algorithm trading companies right now, they're still using the very old languages because they're hiring very experienced engineers from the field. But right now, new coding languages like Python, for example, these are modern languages with a lot of assistive technology and machine learning. So we try to develop the technology that it looks more like human, that will be more of human touch. And that's why, as Colin just mentioned, instead of just asking you to input facts and input numbers that systems can interpret, we want to include a qualitative dialogue that you can essentially type some of the keywords and some of your specific needs. And instead of having human advisors to review those needs and talk to you to refine your investment portfolio, we would use machine learning and also data mining to see how it matches with some of the options available. So essentially we'll also perfect our system and improve the options available, that even if you're just choosing from the drop-down box, it fulfills your requirement. So essentially our end goal, our entire product is we want a very automated technology that human can trust. This is the service that we're hoping to develop, and because it will essentially stand us out from other competitors, which definitely inevitably involve human advisors. So we want everything to be done online, and it's a key chain.
So how much would you invest into so-called existing technologies, existing business model versus some other innovative, disruptive new technologies?
We're actually hoping to spend 10% of the existing R&D on looking for more in terms of other coding languages to perfect our algorithms. Because right now, there are new new coding languages coming out every year, and we believe that through combining different coding languages, we would have a better and more perfect algorithms. It's just like in a lot of fintech companies, they don't hire engineers who only know one coding language, and that's why this is the new part that we're trying to do. We expect to have 10% of the R&D, and because this is not the core. It's not the core yet. It's still the infant stage, but definitely if we see the success coming from this particular technology, we'll focus on developing more of it.
Question I had is like, whatever you've proposed, do you think that's sufficient? Are we ambitious enough? And that what was being proposed, what kind of revenue or will it take it back? Will it take Wealthfront back to #1 position? What do you guys think?
Thank you very much for your question. So currently, our main competitor is earning AUM. So this is the main quantitative figure that we're trying to look forward to. So the AUM they have currently right now is 7.5 billion, while we have 5 billion. So the main advantage that they currently have over us is that they have actual human advisors. But then, once again, as we try to include our presentation, the factor that they have human advisors is just that they provide the advantage of having the human touch. This is actually what we're trying to do and trying to include, but in a different online way. So what we're trying to do here is to include more interactions, such as giving them personal emails, personal suggestions, and so that we can eventually refine and even lead a new trend in these consumer behaviors and change their mindset into actually wanting to engage and trusting these online processes more. So we're looking forward to surpass our competitor and regaining our leading position in this industry. So thank you very much. I hope that answered your question.
And in addition to that question, what we're trying to do is we want to include students and techies. They are a sector that's expanding very quickly in the United States. And if you look into the capital requirement, it's only 500 USD. So basically, you want to include everyone. We believe in the power of crowdfunding, but how do we take this viral marketing into a whole new level? Is that we use a referral program. So think about in amount students. One person started the account, other people, it spreads very quickly. Everyone will invest whatever money that they have. It sounds not a lot, but if you think about it, there are 700 universities in the United States that's like essentially given us 0.075 billion of people that we believe it would be a very big customer base for us. And at the same time, we would also continue to do our B2B. We'll look for another Twitter, we'll look for another Facebook to see what are some of the novel services that we can provide to them. So we're hoping that within 5 years, we would surpass Betterment and regain our leading position. Thank you.
So with the segregation of services, how do you segregate the cost base? Because everyone at the moment is at 0.25%. Do you have a segregated cost structure?
What we're trying to do is we believe that low cost is a very important advantage for us, especially if we want to tap into the techies and students market. They're very, very price sensitive. So we're not trying to, and we also see that there's no way we can match with our major competitors like the big banks who would essentially have 3 layers of service fees. So we won't be charging the service fees in terms just like the banks, but we would have premium services. So just like all the 4 other services that we have, like tax loss harvesting, we would be charging at least 0.75% of the management fee in terms of these premium services. Because if you think about it, these premium services actually don't work in small accounts. If I have 500 USD as a student, I don't care if they're helping me to do with my taxes. But if we also attract the bigger accounts, then they actually would like to demand these premium services. And we would also gain revenue from these additional services. And on top of that, there will be segregation. But the basic management fee, we're hoping to keep it as our advantage.
So a related question, you also spoke about upgrading customers from basic service to premium services. How do you plan to do that? Because these services are even available today by to your existing customers. How do you think that you can move the customers from basic to premium and hence you get higher AUM per customer, right?
Among all the 4 different services that they have, for the tax one, of course, it applies only to the wealthy individuals. But if we think about direct indexing, as long as you're investing in an exchange traded funds, then it's a fund, so it gives you the aggregate results of whether or not it's earning or losing. But you don't know essentially, it counters out the effect of some of the losing companies. So actually, direct indexing also would have a positive return to these customers with smaller accounts. And we hope that, for example, if we nurture them from the student stage, when they graduate, when they start to have income, they would be our new supporting middle class who essentially have more and more income and would like to demand more of these services. So it's actually good that we have them have a taste of it and see how it can have positive effect on their portfolio.
So you've made it quite clear that you are going to focus on the B2C. And on the B2B front, have you actually considered other alternative business models to cover it?
So right now what we're trying to do for B2B is that we look for some of the particular companies who, when giving out in terms of bonuses, they instead of give out shares. It's actually very common in banks and also technology companies because they're growing very fast and they don't have the cash liquidity to essentially give out actual cash. So they'll give out shares. And in terms of unloading, it might create unnecessary chaos, and that's why they would give them in terms of like long-term plans of how within 2 years you can actually invest your money elsewhere in other portfolios. But we believe that it gives us robust growth if we can find many of these companies because they are stars. We focus on Twitter and Facebook, but we would definitely also tap into some other traditional companies in the United States. We do see that there are actually smaller companies who are also listed, and they're also using traditional ways of giving out shares and options. And we believe that if we can also, because right now we're not a very, very big company with a very extensive sales and research team, but as we grow with our B2C business, we would definitely hire more people to tap into the market of these smaller companies, but also list it and see, and not just tech new stars, because we believe that in terms of company shares, our strategy actually works for no matter it's an infant company or it's a already mature company. So this is what we're trying to do as well.
So have you considered the option of licensing of software to more traditional financial services company?
You mean in terms of?
In terms of being a disruptor, you have something new to the market, and those existing incumbents, I think that your services could also be very useful to them. And by licensing your software, you actually create another new revenue stream. Have you considered this option?
I think right now we would definitely have intellectual property in our algorithms. I think essentially as a software company, I think they would already have some intelligent, intellectual property in terms of the algorithms. And as a software company, it's very important that we keep refining our technology. So we guess definitely it would be a possible stream to talk to, because I know that even for HSBC, a lot of big banks, when the bankers get their bonuses, they actually get their shares. But in terms of that, we also thought about the problem of bankers, they might want to keep their shares. Like, you might want to keep your own HSBC shares. So the chaos of unloading all the shares at the same time is not as big as those of smaller companies or the tech new stars. So we believe it might not be as applicable, but we'll definitely love to explore that option to see what are some of the algorithms or software that we can provide to traditional incumbents.
Just looking at your cost base, you're obviously looking at market insights, growing RMs. At what point does the cost start eating into your profits? Did you look at the numerical side of this?
Unfortunately, we don't have any information regarding the income statement of the company. But what we essentially discovered is that we need $1,000 to acquire any new customers. And if we can significantly drive it down, then the cost of maintaining the system is usually 10% of the revenue, which, to be honest, the margin is very high because we don't have retail stores, we don't have retail touch points, we don't have extensive sales team, so the salary part is also driven down significantly. So we believe that the biggest cost structure problem right now is the cost to acquire new clients. So to be honest, through reading the case, we believe that we are actually having our problems are actually eaten by the cost of acquiring clients right now. So that's why we try to solve that problem with our referral program and through tapping into the students market and also the techies market. Thank you.
Let's talk about targeting new age engineers who are more tech savvy and all that. Have you thought about how you're going to do that in a focused way of targeting those customers besides the referral program?
So right now in the tech companies, for example, like Twitter and Facebook, we have already touched to their B2B side. So we believe that we would definitely essentially have some contact with those businesses, and within those companies, they can also invest their own capital into our business instead of just using the program in their company. But in terms of students, we believe that there are a lot of ways we can tap into the university market, no matter through social media platform or even career talk in universities that we have been doing already as a company. So we believe that for students, actually a lot easier in terms of our marketing. We'll definitely get in touch and go on sites in universities, and that's, I think, for the students part is actually the easiest. And after building the reputation, we believe that essentially will attract more and more people incoming. Thank you.
We have about a minute left.
I see on the slides that you didn't quite get to the timeline.
Oh, that's the
Alright.
appendix that we thought the judges might be interested. So we totally understand that it's impossible for us to just go right away, but the referral program is basically built on what we have, so it's just purely marketing and then we can roll out. But definitely for the registered matrix, we need to refine our machine learning technology and also data mining, so we would need around 1 year, like half to 1 year of R&D. But in terms of B2B clients, we want to focus that we definitely continuously search for target companies to provide no full services to.
And the referral program, when does it really become viral? Is it 3 referrals, 4 referrals, 5?
We are definitely hoping to achieve the vibe within 9 months, because we understand that as a tech company, if you're not growing, you're dying. So if your referral program does not get kick-started within the first 9 months, it will essentially not be successful. So we'll definitely go all out in terms of marketing in universities, or even cold emails to different tech companies for people to know and get charmed by our automated technologies. Thank you.
I think, yeah, that pretty much makes the presentation today. Thank you very much, the team from the
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. And with that, we'll conclude today's round 1 of the competition. Thank you all the teams for your wonderful presentations. And let's give a big hand.